Hey there guys, and welcome back to Dino Reviews. Let's talk host. The Host just got released quite a few weeks ago, and it's a found footage supernatural horror movie based around the current pandemic on Zoom. Now I will say guys, there's a lot I really enjoyed with this movie. As always, I'll go through my positives and my negatives, but I will say guys, my positives definitely outweigh my negatives. I had a blast with this movie. I thought it was quite scary, it was quite terrifying. It was a unique way of having a horror movie during this whole pandemic. The movie itself centers around a group of friends who were in lockdown at the time, and they accidentally summon a kind of sinister entity or spirit during the whole pandemic over a Zoom call. I did like that idea. I thought it was quite unique to today's times at the moment, but also just the way they pulled the entire thing off under 60 minutes was quite impressive. My first positive with the movie is just how genuinely scary it actually is. The director himself, he takes advantage of the surroundings of each character just to kind of make them feel isolated and alone. I also love how he uses different lightings and movements in the background to constantly put you on edge. What I found when I was watching the movie, I was constantly looking behind each character to see was something moving behind them, was something coming out of the darkness, what was exactly happening and what it was that was haunting these people. I also love how the director used what they had on screen just to effectively scare the audience. There's a lot of different techniques he uses in this movie. What I found was the characters on screen, they were generally in these kind of dimly lit rooms. There was always kind of darkness or strange objects behind them. Because of this, when I was watching the movie, I was constantly looking behind the characters to see was something moving there in the background. Were objects moving, or was there something standing in the darkness? For me, that was the most terrifying aspect about it, just letting the audience's mind do the thinking. They also play with stuff that we kind of use every day ourselves, such as backgrounds and filters in our Zoom calls, and turn them into terrifying devices. I thought that was quite smart, it was quite neat, and it was just a new way to give audiences scares. Now the movie, it definitely has a lot of jump scares as well, but what I appreciate with this movie is they come at perfect times. The film itself, I'll say it does have a few cliches, but again, how they pull those off works in the end. If I was to describe this movie, I'd actually describe it as a roller coaster movie. At times you kind of know what to expect and you kind of know maybe where the story is going, but when those jump scares come, they really do pay off compared to other horror movies. The entity or demon that they summon as well is pulled off quite well. What I liked about him especially is we don't really find out too much about him. We don't really know what it is exactly. As well as that, the reveals of him are done incredibly well, using again things like different filters or backgrounds. You don't see too much of him. You might see some eyes glowing in the darkness. At one point in this film, and it's probably the scariest part of the movie for me, they use like a filter on screen of a face, and the face just slightly moves. That concept alone I thought was genius, and it's genuinely terrifying on screen. But again, given that they don't give a backstory to this thing that everyone is dealing with, for me anyway, it just makes it a lot scarier because you don't know what you're up against. You don't know what it's capable of, where it is, or what it can do exactly. And the movie kind of teases that throughout. The acting as well was quite good. Each of the characters, for me anyway, you bought into their story and you can kind of attach yourself to each one. The way I looked at it, each of these characters could have been my own friend, and that's what you need in a horror movie. You need a performance on screen where you believe these are real people that you genuinely are terrified for, and you get that with the film. And my last positive is definitely the entire concept of this movie based over Zoom. Especially with everything that's happening in the world at the moment, it does kind of make sense that a horror movie would come out at this time. But I like how limited everything is in this movie. There's not a lot, again, they could do, but when you watch the movie, you are surprised with how much they actually pull off. Between stunts, really gnarly kills, and genuine jump scares, a lot of things work in their favor in this movie. As for the negatives, guys, as I said, there's not too many negatives I would give to this film. What I will say, guys, is yes, the movie does have quite a few cliches. At times, I did kind of know what to expect. Certain characters make really silly decisions, which can be slightly irritating, but again, because the jump scares worked so well, because the kills worked so well, I was able to overlook it. But certain characters in the movie, you know, they walk through houses with the lights turned off, they go up an attic stairs when they hear a noise, so decisions that honestly most people wouldn't make, and it does slightly take you out of the movie. But again, I like that we got those good jump scares, I like that we got those really disgusting kills. I didn't mind it in the end. As I said, I would describe this movie as a roller coaster. You kind of know what to expect in certain instances, but when it comes, it's a huge payoff and it works. Most horror movies today, for me anyway, they have those cliches, but there's no payoff. this one definitely gives you a major payoff, and that's why I enjoyed it so much more. The movie is currently sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. For me anyway, the horror community absolutely loves this movie, and it's easy to see why. I would definitely watch this movie again. If this comes out in cinemas, I would be first there to go watch it. If you haven't, guys, I highly recommend you go check this one out. Of course, guys, if you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you've seen the movie already, please let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. As always, guys, you can of course follow me on social media, and if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.